A storm is approaching in the global economy. Inflation is rising rapidly. Countries are weaponizing their currencies. Debt is growing, growth is slowing, and the world might be heading into the next major financial crisis and potentially a prolonged recession, much sooner than most people expect. In this video, we'll explore the unfolding economic threats and recession scenarios that may define our future. As of 2025, more than 40 countries are battling inflation rates above 8%. In countries like Argentina, Venezuela, and Lebanon, annual inflation has exceeded 50%. In emerging economies like Turkey, inflation driven by food and energy prices continues to erode purchasing power, weakening household stability. In Europe, the energy crisis is squeezing household budgets. In the US, rising rents and food costs are draining consumer spending. In Asia, supply chain disruptions have inflated costs dramatically. Across continents, families are paying more for the same essentials, month after month. To combat this inflation wave, central banks have taken aggressive measures. The US Federal Reserve hiked interest rates to levels not seen since the early 2000s. Other central banks, the European Central Bank, the Bank of England, and the Bank of Japan, followed similar paths. But this aggressive tightening comes at a cost. Growth is slowing, and recession risks are mounting. In fact, some economists argue that the global economy may already be in a technical recession, where multiple major economies experience 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. While official declarations vary, the signs are clear: slowing demand, shrinking industrial output, and weakening labor markets are all flashing warning signals. At the same time, a different kind of economic battle is escalating: currency wars. Led by China and Russia, BRICS nations are moving away from the US dollar. They're developing alternative payment systems, signing bilateral trade agreements, and exploring digital currencies through central banks, all in an effort to reduce dependency on the greenback. Countries are also strategically devaluing their currencies to gain trade advantages. But these competitive devaluations come with a price. They're distorting global trade balances and eroding trust in traditional fiat currencies. Meanwhile, global debt has surpassed $300 trillion. It's not just developing nations at risk. The US federal debt is nearing $35 trillion. Japan's debt to GDP ratio stands at 250%. With rising interest rates, servicing this debt becomes increasingly difficult. Countries like Argentina, Pakistan, and Egypt are negotiating yet another round of IMF bailouts. Debt fragility today may be even more severe than it was before the 2008 crisis. Economic disruption isn't just about numbers. Geopolitical shocks can trigger or amplify financial meltdowns. The Russia-Ukraine war reshaped global energy markets. Tensions between China and Taiwan now cast a shadow over manufacturing and trade across Asia. In response, countries are reshaping supply chains, moving from globalization to localization. But this shift increases complexity, costs, and delivery times. Supply chain resilience comes with an economic price. What could trigger the next global financial crisis? A sovereign debt default? The collapse of a major banking institution? Another crypto meltdown? Or perhaps a large-scale cyber attack on financial infrastructure? Any of these could spark panic. Experts warn that these are no longer just hypotheticals, they're real possibilities. And because the financial system is so interconnected, a single failure can ripple across borders, triggering a global recession or even depression. No one knows the exact timing, but the trend is unmistakable. Fragility is growing. And this time, the crisis won't just be economic, it will intersect with politics, technology, and society at large. The question is no longer will there be a crisis, it's when, and how deep will the recession be. As individuals, investors, and citizens, we must be aware, informed, and prepared. Are you ready for the next big financial crisis, and the recession that could follow?